Welcome to the first ever CHIROTHON Regional. I am your host, Dr. Sherry McAllister with the Foundation for Chiropractic Progress. I'm super excited because we are actually participating right here live at the Michigan Association of Chiropractors. It's a very exciting moment for all of us because we're here to celebrate, elevate, and educate. So if you're joining me today and you have some friends and family, we'll be live streaming all weekend long. And there is a variety of speakers, fantastic individuals that are going to be here to share their love of chiropractic and educate our public about what are the benefits of chiropractic. Now, our goal this weekend is brave, it is bold, and it's beautiful because our number one priority is to ensure that consumers like you out there listening have a first-line approach that is drug-free. That is right. September is Drug-Free Pain Management Awareness Month, and it is an exciting month that actually the Governor, Whitmer, recognized in a resolution that was passed on September 5th about drug-free pain care. And so tonight, we have several guests that we're going to bring with you, but before we get there, I want to thank some very special people out there. They know who they are. They're behind the scenes right now. They're making this live streaming possible. ChiroSecure, Dr. Alan Weinstein, we're calling you out right now to thank you. Kevin and Dawn, we couldn't do this without you. It is a monumental moment for us. And with talent like you to restream on 13 different channels, it's extraordinarily exciting. So, Dynamic Chiropractic, Chiroeconomics, and the American Chiropractor, we thank you for streaming this important Chirothon to share it with the world. And again, our goal is to raise $50,000. How are we going to do that? Well, let's say you enjoy this segment, this vignette. You can go to f4cp.org/MAC and you can donate any amount. That's the exciting part about this vignette throughout the entire weekend is our goal is to raise funds to increase the awareness of a drug-free approach and to educate those on the benefits of chiropractic care. One of the big pieces as we raise that $50,000 goal is to have those difficult conversations, to know that if you're suffering in pain, there are drug-free benefits. And as we're here at the convention tonight, one of the very exciting moments that we're going to have is we're going to have a guest. Now, I'm not going to share quite yet who that guest is, because if you're here at the MAC, first we thank you, and we hope that you'll join us at 7 o'clock tonight for the kickoff live presentation, and we will be co-hosting the entire weekend with Dr. Fab Mancini. Now, if you don't know Fab, you might have seen him on Dr. Phil, maybe Dr. Oz, or The Doctors. He's here to share as a former Foundation for Chiropractic Progress board member a little bit more about why chiropractic and how chiropractic fits into everyone's lifestyle. And when you donate this segment that is about to come up, you're going to have an opportunity to win one of our fantastic donated by a chiropractor ergonomically correct backpack that will be yours after you watch this next segment, which will show you how to use a backpack effectively and for your children. So if you're a mother or a father out there and you want your children to have the best opportunity for good posture, stick with me because we have the first vignette coming up, and that vignette is focused on posture. So as you know, we're live, and with live comes a lot of energy. So I'm going to stay with me, and we'll go through a lot of what's happening. But now is the time to give you that little heads up. I promised I was going to tell you. If you're not here live, don't worry. When we kick off tonight, we're going to have a special star guest. That special star guest is Dr. Alessandra Colon, and you may know her from the TLC channel Crack Addict. If you're not here live at 7 o'clock to start to celebrate, elevate, and educate the entire community in Michigan, don't worry, because we're going to have Dr. Alessandra Colon back Saturday. You will not want to miss that segment. It will start in the morning, so check the schedule. You'll be able to see all the different vignettes that are coming up. Key to success, having you here. You make the difference. And as you're watching and as you're celebrating with us, we have fantastic sponsors that really make this moment happen. Our first sponsor is Foot Levelers. Foot Levelers is in fact the world's leading custom orthotic. For over 70 years, Foot Levelers, chiropractors, and their patients actually have the most amazing outcomes. The Foot Levelers orthotic is the only orthotic that takes care of the three arches. More about Foot Levelers, it's a very easy opportunity for you. You can go to footlevelers.com and you'll learn more about why your feet matter and how those arches of your feet impact your posture. So I told you there is going to be a special guest coming up, and she is a rather amazing individual. She is the founder of the American Posture Institute. She's also written a best-selling book, and her book is called The Posture Principles. She's also a fantastic TEDx speaker, so if you want to look her up, it's Dr. Krista Burns on the TEDx channel. She has 2 doctorate degrees. One is the American as a chiropractor and one as a health administrator. So I'm extremely excited to bring on Dr. Burns. You may have seen her on ABC, NBC, CBC, or Fox News because she does a lot of talking about posture and what it means. Why is the spine such an important part of our body? How do we treat it right? And what does it mean when we set ourselves up incorrectly going to school? Like sometimes we wear our backpacks wrong. I travel a lot and I get to see a lot of people wearing their backpacks incorrectly. So I want to now turn it over to our expert in posture and why the spine matters, Dr. Krista Burns.
Hi, Dr. Sherry. Thank you so much for that warm welcome, and a big welcome to all of our parents and everyone tuning in to CHIROTHON. This is a very exciting initiative. Can't wait to dive in.
It is very exciting, and I know that there's a lot that parents have questions, especially because their children are either gone back to or going to school, and there's many things that they may just want to implement. They're simple and they're important, but we're going to start with the basics. For those of you out there, I want an expert to answer this question, and no better expert than Dr. Burns. So we're going to start very simply. What is posture, and why is posture, especially proper posture, important for childhood development?
Yeah, great question. So posture, your posture system, is the structural framework of your body to protect the integrity and the function of your inner organs. And so when we have upright posture, we're able to hold our bodies upright against the ever-present force of gravity. At any given moment, your body is accelerating one of 2 things: postural fitness or postural collapse. You may have had that experience where, for example, at the end of the day, you start to go down and forward. That's because gravity is pulling down on our bodies. So we have an upright posture system, which is an integration of feedback from the brain down to the musculoskeletal system of the body to keep the body upright against gravity. And so it protects the function of our body when we're in a nice, upright, and intellectual posture. Now, maybe you've had the "that's my kid" moment. I refer to the "that's my kid" moment when you look at your child, maybe they're checking their smartphone, they're watching a device, maybe they're sitting on the couch, and you see them slumped forward. Now, if you've ever seen this slumped forward postural presentation, I want you to understand how this can be impacting their health and their neurologic development. Did you know that there's a direct correlation between the brain, how it functions, the nervous system development, and the position of your posture system? Anytime we have an upright posture, I want you to think that this is a more intelligent and mature posture versus being slumped forward in a more primitive or less mature and less developed posture. In fact, if we look at the research studies, it shows that when children have upright posture, it helps prevent signs and symptoms associated with ADHD. It helps prevent pain, which we'll definitely talk about today. And also it helps improve mood and concentration. Now, if you've ever seen a child who's kind of slumped forward and closed off, then we know that this could be affecting how they're thinking about themselves and how they're perceiving their environment. So when we get them into an upright posture, it gives them more confidence. And I always like to share with parents this one because there's not a parent out there who's listening who doesn't want these results for your kids. Research came out of Japan comparing two groups of children, one with slump forward posture, one with upright posture. And the group with upright posture actually had better performance in the classroom and better comprehension. So when we have that upright posture, we're able to focus better. So we're going to talk about all kinds of ways that we can help your posture today, but I want you to think beyond just musculoskeletal, but also how it's impacting the nervous system, brain development, that important neurologic development that your child is experiencing right now.
Dr. Burns, you said some incredibly important information in just that opening. And one piece of that is I want parents across America to really identify with is we're currently facing a mental health crisis. And what you just said can really add to the reality that poor posture just really declines all of the things that we don't want for our children. It's being able to prosper and almost like a plant, like really just flourishing into a beautiful system that is working hard, growing well, and very positive in its relationship. And I know there's many things that can impact posture. And one of the things that I want you to really discuss with parents across the nation, especially our Michiganians, is the most common cause of postural deficits among school children. And then how common are they so that parents they get a sense of how important and why you dedicate your life to this particular aspect.
Yes, absolutely. In fact, in 2021, the American Journal of Epidemiology and Public Health came out with a statement stating a research study showing that more than 70% of school-age children right now in the United States present with moderate to severe forward head posture. More than 70% had moderate to severe forward head posture. Now, just a quick anecdote, what is forward head posture and what does that mean? So forward head posture is when the ears go forward in relation to the shoulders. So from the side, if my ears are forward in relation to the shoulders, and then what commonly tends to happen is the head will drop forward and or the shoulders will round forward as well. These postural presentations tend to come together. And so when we looked at that study, it was more than 73% already had moderate to severe forward head posture, and even greater than that already had forward head posture in general. So we know that this is a severe epidemic among school-age children. And so we have the opportunity of banding together and recognizing what are the most common reasons that so many school-age children are suffering from postural deficits. Now, at the American Posture Institute, we refer to the current generation as Generation C, a generation of C spines. If you've ever seen this with your child, it's when the head goes forward and the shoulders round forward, and we have that increased C-shaped spinal curvature. So if you've ever seen Generation C, we're banding together to prevent that, especially here today on CHIROTHON. So if we look at the most common causes of postural distortion patterns, there's really three primary causes. Number one is sedentary posture. So as a society, we've become more sedentary and desk-bound. While we're designed to be upright and balance our bodies upright against gravity and be dynamic in our movements within our environment, we spend so much time seated, not just the kids, but adults as well. And so while seated, what happens is we tend to go forward in that anterior position with gravity. And so the more sedentary that we are without taking movement breaks, the more breakdowns we see in the posture system or postural distortion patterns. Number two is tech neck posture. Now, so many children and all of us adults, we have these little computers walking around in our pockets. Now, every time we grab our smartphone and we look down in that forward head posture presentation, again, reminding you that more than 70% of children have this, every time you look down in forward head posture, you can be adding up to 60 pounds of pressure crushing down on the cervical spine. 60 pounds of pressure every time you grab your smartphone to check a text message and go like this. And so we've got to address, and we'll talk about some tips here in a moment, We've got to address the impact that technology has had on our society. Am I anti-tech? Absolutely not. I love how efficient it's made us and our ability to communicate with one another via digital devices. However, we've got to evaluate our body position in relation to these digital devices and ensure that we're not allowing collapse of our posture system while engaging with technology. So we talked about sedentary posture, we talked about tech neck posture, and that third component, the most common reason that children present with postural distortion patterns is heavy backpacks and not wearing them correctly. And so each day they throw on a backpack, they're wearing too much weight in the backpacks and or they're wearing them incorrectly. And what this has been shown to result in is early onset degeneration of the spine, postural distortion patterns, and this can be impacting their function as well as leading to more pain in children. So we've got to look at those backpacks. We got to keep our kids moving and really evaluate if they have what's called sedentary posture. And then, of course, looking at that tech neck syndrome.
I would say those that are watching right now are probably thinking, I do that myself as an adult. I need to change the habits of my child. And I will admit to all of you that I could tell my sons that they needed to straighten up, but then I didn't recognize that I too was being like the perfect, unfortunate example of what not to do. So it's up to you, parents, too, to be able to exhibit the right posture while you're looking at your phone. So I'm going to divert Dr. Burns right now so that the parents watching can be the perfect example of, as soon as you pick up your phone, make it habitual. There is a way to think about how to hold that phone as soon as it goes in your hands. Because if you can demonstrate that good posture with your children, that will be the best way. The old saying, do as I say, not as I do, forget that. That doesn't work. You have to show them how to do it right. So let me divert away from the children for just a moment, because you have to put your oxygen mask on first. If you would, Dr. Burns, tell our audience, made up of a lot of great Michigan parents, how to ensure that they pick up that phone and then immediately go into the correct posture.
All right, Michigan, here it is. Now, every time you grab your smartphone, I want you to think of picking your head up and take a breath and pull your head back and have your ears aligned over your shoulders. Now, here's what's not realistic, is that you grab your smartphone and you hold it out here in a military posture, and then your arms get tired, and then you tell me, well, I have shoulder pain now. This is not a realistic way to hold your phone. So here's what I want you to do instead. As you grab your phone, I want you to take your elbows, and you guys can try this with me at home. I want you to take your elbows and bring them in close to your body. Do you feel how your elbows are supported? And now from here, with your elbows against your body, I want you to grab your smartphone and look straight at it. Now from here, I'm keeping a safe distance of my eyes from my phone, and I can check everything that I need to do without collapsing forward. Okay, so bring your elbows in and then hold here, and then you can check your text messages, you can catch up on your emails without going forward into that collapsed posture. So think about bringing your elbows in close to your body for support. And if you do that, then I promise you are going to be the perfect posture role model for your child. And the really exciting thing and opportunity here is that when children are school age, as they're developing, this is when they're developing all of their habits of hygiene and development. And so if they can develop those proper posture habits from an early age, that becomes mindful, intentional posture instead of going into autopilot, which leads to pain and degeneration.
So important. And thank you for taking that moment to help the parents first. And now we're going to go back to our children. What should parents do at home to see if their child is having some postural issues?
Yeah, so you can do an at-home posture check. And I encourage all of our parents, all you Michiganders out there, I want to encourage you to be a posture detective. And so what you're going to do is when you go home this evening or when you're with your child, I just want you to be observant. And without them knowing that you're checking their posture, because what tends to happen is we kind of shift our posture and we know we're being watched. In fact, maybe when you heard we were talking about posture today, you sat up a little bit straighter in your chair too. Hopefully we made that shift. Now, as you're watching them, I just want you to evaluate and observe your child, especially while engaging with their technology, and see if you see what's called Generation C. See if you have the "that's my kid" moment, where when your child's looking down at their smartphones, you see them in this flex forward position. So just observe and evaluate if they tend to go into that position. Also, what I want you to check for is if your children are balancing their weight over both feet of support, or if they tend to stand with their weight more so on one side. Okay, so check to see if they're going on one side or the other. And then when you check your child's posture with an at-home posture check, what you want to do is tell them to take a breath in, take a breath out. As you breathe out, relax your shoulders. So you'll say, okay, I'm going to take a breath in, breathe out. As you breathe out, just relax. Okay, now that they breathe out and relax, we want to see that when they breathe out, are they able to resist gravity? So then from the side, you're going to check to see is if the ear stays over top of the shoulder or if it collapses forward. Okay, so that simple check right here is going to be our at-home posture check to see if the head goes forward into a forward head posture. Another advanced check, because I know all of you guys are up for it, is you can have your child stand against the wall. And when they stand against the wall, we want to see that the lower back flattens against the wall. And so if you're able to put a fist between your child's spine and the wall, then we know that we have an increased curvature of the lower back. So what we want to see is that the ears are stacked over the shoulders, and when they stand against the wall, that they have control of their hips, so there's not an increased curvature of the lower back. And we know it's an increased curvature if we can put a fist between your child's spine and the wall. Okay. And then, of course, just be a detective and watch them as they're engaging throughout their activities of daily living. Watch them while they're in a sedentary posture, on the couch, or at their desk while performing homework. Watch them while they're on their devices. And of course, observe them as they put those backpack on. And we'll make sure that we give the tips that we can help make sure that they have proper backpack posture.
Great opportunity for us to not only help ourselves, but to be a detective for our children. And I really enjoyed how you put it all together in a very simple way. There is the correlation clearly that happens when our posture is not ideal. And you talked a little bit about the backpack, but let's go into how do you see backpacks, posture, and pain coming together for our school-age children?
Yeah, if we look at epidemiologic studies, we know that more than 70% of children are presenting with postural distortion patterns. And what that means in terms of pain is that right now, up to 40% of children are suffering from common musculoskeletal issues, primarily neck pain and back pain. And so if we look at the root causes of those postural distortion patterns, again, tech neck posture, sedentary posture, and backpacks, when we look at then how that results into pain, then with neck pain and back pain, one of the most common causes is poor backpack usage, and that's affecting up to 40% of kids. And if we just take a moment, we breathe from our hearts, and we go and we dive deep inside, and we think to ourselves, should children be in pain at an early age? And the answer is absolutely not. They should not have advanced degeneration. They should not feel pain while moving, while sitting, while waking up in the morning. They should feel great. They should feel vibrant. They should feel energetic. And if up to 40% of kids right now are suffering from musculoskeletal pain that we can prevent, then I know, Michigan, that we can band together here at CHIROTHON and help them prevent that pain, especially by wearing their backpack properly with proper spinal health.
Oh, you set it up so well. So, Michigan, this is our moment to get this right, because now we know. Dr. Krista Burns pointed out that there's a correlation, especially with our posture, how we wear our backpacks. And now it's going to be time. So listen up, lean in on this, because this is going to be the moment where you start to change the future of 40% of the young people out there today. It may not be your child, but it may be someone else's child that you can give the parent information on. Hopefully all of us could use this advice, because let's be honest, it takes a village to raise healthy people, and it takes many moments of education and awareness to start to take on these new habits. So, Dr. Krista, there's nobody better out there to tell us, how do our kids pack as well as wear their backpacks to prevent posture-related problems?
Right. Let's talk packing the backpack first. So if we grab our backpack, and you guys can do this at home with me, as you grab your backpack and open it up, you're going to notice that typically with a backpack, there's going to be multiple different pouches. Now, the large pouch, the one that goes directly against the spine, I want you to take your child's heaviest items, which with school tends to be those big textbooks, right? So I want you to grab the textbooks and I want you to put those in first. The largest and the heaviest items should go in first, and that should be closer to the spine. The further we get away from the spine, it changes our biomechanics. So if the heavier items are on the outside of the backpack away from the spine, then it's going to pull your child back, or they're going to feel like they need to heave forward in order to get the backpack on. So when it's the heavier items are closer to the spine, they will feel more supported and they won't have to collapse their posture in order to hold the backpack upright. So as you're packing, pack the heaviest items first, put those closest to the spine. And then as your child's getting ready to leave for the day, we want to make sure that they are set up for success with their backpack posture. So notice that we have 2 straps here. We want to make sure that they wear it over the straps over both sides. The last thing that we want to do is put it over one side and collapse the system to one side or the other, with putting all the weight with unequal weight distribution to one side. So they want to wear it over both shoulders. Now, some backpacks have clips, which is great. I highly encourage strapping them together if they have that as part of the straps. Make sure that the straps do not hang too low. How you know it's too low is if the backpack drops below the lower back, okay, to the buttocks area. We do not want it hanging below the hips. We want the backpack to stop right about at the lumbar spine, which is called your lower back. So we don't want it to drop below the hips. So 2 shoulder straps, not hanging too low, heaviest items closest to the spine. And then with the backpack weight, so as you're getting ready for back to school and as you're, sending your child out the door, make sure that the weight overall is not too heavy. It should not exceed 10% of your child's body weight. That's the magic formula, not above 10%. So you're going to take your child's body weight and then you can actually weigh the backpack and see what that relationship is. If it's more than 10%, that's considered dangerous for their posture. So we want to take items out if we can carry less heavy items to not exceed that 10% body weight. We want to make sure that we have the even distribution over both feet, not hanging too low over both sides. When they put the backpack on, let's encourage posture mindfulness, where they pull their head back, they keep their eyes up instead of looking down at the ground. They're going to walk into school feeling more confident, and they're going to have that great posture as well. Another important thing is that children may end up wearing their backpacks for long periods of time, for example, before school or after school in particular. And so if they're going to be standing in the playground for a long period of time, what we'd like to see is that they take a break and they actually put the backpack down, and then they can go and play with friends. Because if they stand with their backpack, safely, of course, putting it off to the side, making sure they can keep an eye on it. But if they can put it down and they can move freely, that's going to alleviate their spine of more tension in a sustained position. So the more movement we can get to the spine, the better. So if they're going to be holding it for a long period of time, if they can set it down and take a break, that's going to be the best advice possible. So when we put our backpacks on, what I want you to check for is make sure we don't have what's called the slouch pouch. So you put the backpack on and we have a slouch pouch if the shoulders go forward and we kind of pouch our bellies out here. So if you see a slouch pouch with your kids, we know we need to bring them up into a nice upright posture. We're going to pull those ears back, align them over the shoulders, and your child is good to go. They're ready to have a successful day at school and be those postural role models, not only to themselves, but also to other kids in their classrooms as well.
That is brilliant. And as you were talking, I was thinking about putting the oxygen mask on yourself first. And the thing that I am asking you, Dr. Burns said, be the detective. How many of you travel with backpacks yourself when you're getting on the airplanes? Now you can actually watch people and say to yourself, that person doesn't have it on both shoulders. That person's got it way below their lower back. That person's not using the strap that they could easily have used. That backpack looks really improperly packed, because the more you play this game, we're almost gamifying posture. The more you play the game, I think the better off you're going to be as a parent and as an individual who is helping others to have more effective posture, because it really does impact all areas of your life. Now, You have given us some absolutely fabulous information. And if you're listening right now, we're hoping that you will reward these outstanding moments and donate to our MAC CHIROTHON. You can easily do that by going to f4cp.org/MAC. And I'm leaving the best to last, which is Dr. Burns travels the world giving information regarding posture. And I want her to take that moment right now to really help others have better posture. She gave you some great tips already, but what are some more important posture tips that you think could really help keep our kids healthy?
All right, Michigan, here it is here at CHIROTHON. Number one, we got to bring those devices up to eye level. Dr. Sherry, we talked about with our smartphones, how we're going to hold our elbows here. We're going to bring that device up to eye level while on our smartphones. But let's not forget about our computer screens as well, both for kids and for adults. So instead of sitting down, plopping down at your desk and looking down in a slumped forward posture while on your device, what I want you to do is I want you to bring your computer monitor up to eye level so that you can comfortably have a nice position of your wrists and your hands while typing, and you can look straight forward at your device. The last thing that we want is that they go down and forward. Now, so many of us, we probably have an old textbook from school that we could put under our device, or chances are we have an Amazon box that recently got delivered that we could use to prop up our computer screen. I'm a huge advocate and proponent of great ergonomic equipment, but if you don't feel like you want to go out today and buy a new ergonomic desk, that's okay. What I want you to know is that there's at-home solutions to bring those devices up to eye level, such as using a box to put underneath your computer monitor. So when you grab your smartphone, elbows in, head up. When you sit down at your computer, make sure that you're looking straight forward, not down at your computer screen. Number two is active sitting solutions. Remember, one of the most common causes of poor posture is being too sedentary. And so when we have active sitting solutions, it allows us to create more movement and mobility throughout our day. Notice I'm standing as I'm engaging with technology. I'm never anti-tech. I'm very pro advocate of having healthy bodies while engaging with technology. I'm able to stand and still communicate with you. And so if you can get a 3-to-1 sit to stand ratio, standing to sitting ratio of 3-to-1, standing 3 times the amount of seating, that's going to be that ideal ratio to work towards. While seated, if you can find an active sitting solution, it will serve you very well. When I say active sitting solution, I mean that you can sit on an exercise ball or, for example, a posture cushion. A cushion is a round disc that you can place on any office chair or any school chair for your child to take to school with them. So when you're sitting on an active sitting solution, what's happening is we're naturally creating more mobility of the joints of our spine. So we're moving around more. We're also burning more caloric expenditure, so we're more active throughout our workday. Now, because we're on an active sitting solution, what happens is if I start to get lazy with my posture, this actually wakes up my brain. My brain then centers my body back to center, and I have better posture throughout the day. So bringing devices up to eye level, watch how we're sitting with active sitting solutions, having those options to stand up as often as we can throughout the day. And last but not least, my number one go-to when it comes to parents, caring parents for their kids and for their colleagues at work is posture breaks. I recommend taking a posture break for 30 seconds every hour of your work or school day. Now, I want you to perform a posture break with me. It looks just like this. What I want you to do is I want you to bring your arms out with your palms facing forward. I want you to press your chest forward and drop your head back. And from here, feel free to close your eyes or leave them open. Focus on nice deep inhalations or exhalations. Nice breath in, nice breath out. Good. And hold. Good. And hold for 30 seconds. Perfect. Now, as you come back to center, I want you to notice how you feel. Chances are you feel like you're nice and stretched out across the front area here. Remember that gravity brings us down and forward. So this part of our body becomes more tense. We have that increased tension. So when you open up and you go anti-gravity, you're stretching out the posture system so that you have nice alignment of your spine. Now, you're going to notice that you have better alignment, you feel stretched out, you also likely feel more alert. There's a direct correlation between posture and concentration and alertness. So when you take 30 seconds of self-care each hour of your work or school day for our kids, then when you take that 30 seconds, you take care of your posture, then when you go back to your work, you're going to feel more alert, you're going to feel pain-free, and you're going to feel in nice upright alignment. So when it comes to those extra posture tips, in addition to great backpack care for keeping Michigan healthy, we want to bring devices up to eye level, have active sitting solutions, and take a posture break for 30 seconds every hour of your workday. Michigan, let's work together. Let's lead the nation in having proper posture, in changing the posture paradigm in Michigan for your children.
Outstanding, Dr. Burns. We so appreciate this. I know just for myself, it's a reminder that I do, in fact, have to take that gravitational force out of my life and take that break. So there is not a single person that I don't think your lecture has really not touched today. And we are so very grateful that you would share from the American Posture Institute your wisdom and the resources that are necessary for us to carry on and in Michigan be the very best we can be. Thank you so much, Dr. Burns, for joining us today.
Thank you, Dr. Sherry. And to everybody in Michigan, I want you to remember that it's posture by design and not by circumstance. You have the ability to design for you and for your child beautiful, resilient, upright posture, not to allow them to just become a circumstance of their environment. So it's posture by design and not by circumstance.
Well, I hope every single watcher now knows posture is something we work on every day. And again, we thank Dr. Krista Burns for bringing such expert information to us. Now you can see why we all need to learn, we all need to do better. And it's exactly why we're here today during CHIROTHON 2023, hosted by the Michigan Association of Chiropractors. It is this moment that matters. It is the moment where we start to celebrate, elevate, and educate everyone about how the benefits of chiropractic fit into your life. Now remember, I promised you that the winner, the donators that make a difference are going to get this fantastic backpack, and now you know how to use it. So this segment was brought to you by Foot Levelers, and we can't thank them enough. Chiro Secure, we can't thank you enough. Important for you to know that we're going to be right back here for Women's Health at 5:30. Now, before you go, if you can, go to f4cp.org/MAC, because that was the end of our first vignette. We will be here all weekend. Invite your friends, invite your family. Come for a minute, come for 5 hours. Just show up, because the more you know, the better you can do. And I want to thank everyone who donated during this segment. We've now raised $475 thanks to your generosity. So thank you. Now don't forget, come on back here for CHIROTHON MAC at 5:30, and you're going to get a host of more great information. Thank you.